Hello everybody, welcome back to the Mover Mailbag. I hope you guys had a great week and are looking forward to a great weekend. I'm going to take your emails and letters, although there's nothing physical this time. If you want to send me something, P.O. Box 8594, Mandeville, Louisiana 70470, or you can email me, movermailbag@cwlemoyne.com if you want it read on the channel. First thing though was actually sent to me last month, and it's not product placement per se, but Next Level Racing sent me their Flight Simulator Lite cockpit to check out and do in exchange for an honest review. So we'll start that out. Very short review, but looking at their website here. What is it? So it's their Flight Simulator Lite. It retails for 300 bucks. Kind of looks like a lawn chair with the peripherals. I think this is based off of their old GT Lite as well. It has space for, you know, your stick and a keyboard and everything. So the basics of it, I got it around the time that I was taking a break from YouTube, unfortunately, so I couldn't get the video out then, but basics of it, putting it together, does require some assembly, which if you're not very savvy when it comes to putting furniture together, like me, it may take you a while. It took me a little bit longer than I had expected, but in the end I did get it put together. It is well constructed. You know, it's obviously it's an entry-level thing, so there's not a whole lot to it. It's comfortable. I think the back is a little bit high and makes it tough to like check 6 or anything, especially if you're wearing a VR headset, but the way it reclines, or you can adjust that, it kind of feels like sitting in an F-16, especially with the side plate. I do wish the side plate kind of moved farther back, and for the throttle, one of the things I had to do was actually tilt the throttle mount down, so actually have it canted so that it moved farther back, which is what I'm more used to than having the throttle as far forward as it is. I did mount the Thrustmaster Warthog to it. I did not mount the stick because I switch back and forth between side stick for the F-16 and center stick for the anything else. And the problem with having center stick for anything else is because it's canted, because the seat is reclined. I'm using the VPC Warbird with the heavy springs that came with it, which is not heavy enough for the Thrustmaster Warthog, and it actually kind of wobbles. It wobbles both on the flat part and on the when you actually put it in your lap. So that's kind of a down, but that has nothing to do with that setup. So as far as the folding it up and putting it away, I never did that because I don't need to. It is where it is, and really, I think it would kind of be a pain with the Thrustmaster Warthog, and as heavy as that is, trying to put that together. It does have a cam locking system, so everything is adjustable and everything, but again, it's kind of more pain for me than it's worth. So the other thing I did not do was there is a keyboard mount, or you can put a steering wheel there on the center. I did not install that because with the center stick mount, it gets in the way. It's in the way. I don't like it, so I just moved it out of the way. But it is a nice entry-level setup. You know, if you're looking for something that's already put together that you can kind of move out of the way and stuff, I think it's a good product. But if you're looking for something that's probably a little bit more realistic, you're probably better off either making your own or getting one of their higher-end setups, because I think it just in general, it's more for convenience and less for realism. But it is better than putting your stuff on the desk, or whatever I used to be doing. So that's kind of my 6 to 9 minute review on that. I want to thank Next Level Racing for sending me that. I do think it's a quality product, and again, if it's if you're looking for something that's an entry level setup, it is obviously the way to go. So anyway, let's look at your emails. All right, this comes from Chris. He's talking about choppers. Get to the chopper. Hello, Mover. I've been a subscriber since you had under 10,000 subscribers, so it's been an absolute blast for watching and enjoying your adventures. I'm an instrument-rated fixed-wing guy with quite a few rotary time, but I don't have the add-on yet. But one day I'll get it. I work for a DoD contractor working on weapon systems on Apache helicopters at Apache helicopters at Fort Rucker, Alabama, home of Army Aviation. Do you have to say all that every time you say Fort Rucker? That seems like a lot. Anyway, I know you like Apaches. Yes, I do. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Yeah, can we get a ride? Can you go fly one? So my question is, why not do a simple couple hours flying in a helo for a DCS gamer that never flown a real helicopter? I think it'd be cheaper than doing the dogfighting for DCS gamers. It may even bring up a way to help raise money for the dogfighting and fighters. Just a thought. Take care. Hope the doggos are doing okay. Oh, the Hellcat. Oh my, that is awesome. I'm not saying roll tide. Damn it, I just said roll tide. Yeah, I'm not real sure about that. You're talking taking people for flights. That gets in kind of some really, I mean, it'd have to be a commercial pilot, then you'd have to have the right certificates for the helicopter. I don't know about all that. We're still going to make fights on. It's just delayed. That's all. Delayed, and funding sources are going to change. So, but I do appreciate the suggestion and the email. Hey Mover, I'm moving to Phoenix this summer. Plan on searching for a job once I'm out there. I know Luke Air Force Base is pretty big out there. I was wondering if there are any civilian opportunities on bases. Wouldn't be the end of the world if I couldn't get one, but I think it would be fascinating work environment being on a base. Have any insight? Yep, usajobs.gov and search. That's it. That's all there is to it. Antonio says, hi Mover, hope you and the Wolf Wolfs are doing great. The Wolf Wolfs. Been loving the Spectre series of books, starting book 7 as I write. Thank you. And even more so the Easter eggs in them, such as some characters named after video game characters and use of real-life locations, which makes the stories come even more alive. It was also a great touch to stand against evil. You mentioned Gawky. Yeah, Gawky made himself a character in that book. That's a funny story. Thought you were joking when you wrote that he invests in real estate, just to find out it was actually true, and hope you keep writing many more books for us to read. Yeah. Changing the subject, I do have 2 questions. 1. I would like to learn how to fly a jet properly in DCS. Are there any squadrons that you know that take a newbie like me and teach me to properly fly and eventually fight? I don't have any idea. However, I bet that by me asking that question here, if you read the comment section, I guarantee there will be like a million suggestions. So just check out the comment section. People that are smarter than me on this stuff will absolutely answer your question. Second, since you are a Krav Maga instructor, I'd like to know if it is a good defense system for security purposes, as I work as a security guard in the UK, and by law we are only allowed to restrain people and not strike unless we are dealing with an armed aggressor. No. This is something I kind of struggled with in law enforcement. Yes, there are some techniques that do work, but the whole Krav Maga stands for contact combat, and the whole point is to kill your attacker's ability and will to fight. That's it. It is a self-defense method developed in Israel because they obviously have a lot of threats to quickly move from one threat to another and keep yourself safe. It is not really suited for control techniques and for some of the grappling stuff that we have to do in law enforcement and other stuff, because it does result in permanent injury in some cases, and it is a very violent method in a lot of situations. That's why it's not really used in UFC, for example, or MMA, because it's not compatible with sport or control systems and stuff like that. So I really don't recommend it. Jiu-Jitsu, there's a lot of adopt-a-cop and stuff like that. Jiu-Jitsu is a very popular thing amongst law enforcement, but I don't think Krav Maga is one of those. I wish you all the best for your channel and writing career, and though I'm not American, I still want to thank you and all service personnel for your service. All the best, Antonio. Well, thank you, Antonio, and check it out. There's a new book coming out probably next month. It's called No Justice, N-O Justice. All right, this comes from Bradley. Can you sortie whenever you want? Hey Mover, I've been a fan of your channel for about 3 or 4 years now. I'm in the 8th grade and I have a question for you. Can you sortie when you want? Say like the day before you want to go fly, you can fill out a sheet or something like that and you can go fly the next day, or do you have to go through a lot of stuff to go fly and say like FAA clearance, etc. and more? I hope you see this. Have a wonderful day. It depends. All right, so are we at, you said FAA. So as a civilian, yeah, you can go fly whenever you want. You have to get a, you know, if you're going on an IFR clearance or instrument stuff, you have to file a flight plan, but that takes, you know, 6 to 9 minutes. For the military, the schedule comes out the day prior, typically in all squadrons, and it's squadron dependent. You put in your availability. Sometimes the day prior, you know, you have to have your availability in by, you know, 3 o'clock the day prior, and then they'll build a schedule and they'll send it out. Sometimes it's the week prior, sometimes it's a month prior. Just, I've seen squadrons do different things. So you put in your availability, and then the schedule comes out, and they're dedicated schedules. You know, it's usually like two goes a day, or 2 events a day, where, you know, morning they'll fly 4 jets, or the afternoon they'll fly 4 jets or 8 jets. They call it 8 turn whatever. So there is a schedule. There is, you know, you do have to tell the schedulers that you're available to fly. You can't just go hop in the jet and go. There has to be something with your name on the schedule. Now, if there's fallout, or if a line comes available where, you know, somebody got sick, or somebody couldn't fly, couldn't make it, or they just needed, you know, they added another line or another jet to the schedule, then yeah, you might be able to fly same day. But typically, it's the day prior that you know, or even a week prior. A week prior is usually a tentative schedule, and then the day prior is the final schedule. So good question, though. I haven't heard that one before. All right, this comes from Jonathan. Hey, Mover, my favorite planes are the F-35B, AV-8B Harrier because of the VSTOL functionality. Since I was quite young, I've been obsessed with the Harrier and STOVL aircraft in general. I was wondering your thoughts about the positive and negative of these unique aircraft. Oh boy, okay. All right, let's get the rest and then I'll answer. As a bit of a side note, do you have any thoughts about the Royal Navy, Royal Air Force possibly scrapping huge amounts of F-35Bs and F-35Cs? Glad to hear the news about Sniper. Cheers from England. Okay, so personal opinion only. Disclaimer, disclaimer. I think the insistence by the Royal Navy and the Marines to have a VSTOL version of the F-35 is what crushed the F-35. I personally do not see the benefit. We have carriers. We have the ability to launch off carriers. You get more fuel. You get better performance. It's not as complicated. You don't have all that crap in the back. And a lot of the stuff that, because of the commonality that was required to reduce weight and to get all the fan parts and stuff, a lot of that, the reason the canopy opens the wrong way, was caused because they designed a VSTOL model. I think that should have been a separate aircraft. I don't think it should have been part of the F-35 project. It should have been its own thing. I personally don't believe that the Marines needed it. And I get that the Royal Navy, you know, they have smaller ships and they need that stuff, but I just don't think it was a good fit. I think it really hurt a bigger project by insisting on having 2 variants. Okay, you know, you got the Air Force version, you beef up the landing gear, you got the Navy version, the wings fold. That's relatively easy to do. Adding a lifting fan and all the parts required, really, I think it needed to be its own separate thing. And I think you'd have been able to buy more, it'd have been cheaper, it'd have been lighter, you'd have had lightning protection, all the stuff that became a problem later on wouldn't have happened if they wouldn't have insisted that. Plus, I don't think Marines in general, our Marines, need 5th gen stealth VTOL aircraft. I just don't. I don't see the reason for it, and here we are, and now they're talking about cutting. And you guys are talking about cutting too, and what happens when you cut? They just get more expensive. We learn these lessons over and over. The F-22 was the same way. We were going to buy like, you know, 1,300 of them, and then they went down to 187. Well, guess what happens to the cost per unit when you don't buy what you said you were going to buy? It goes up. I've had an engineer on the channel that talked about what happens when the government does that and when Congress gets involved. So it's supposed to be a cheap replacement, and then you get all these development costs, and you have to amortize those costs over the life cycle of the aircraft. Well, when you buy less, the cost is still the same, so the cost per unit just goes up. But yeah, that's me. My opinion only, doesn't represent any official anything. Just kind of my thing. And thank you about Sniper. Appreciate it. He's doing great. He got his checkup on Tuesday, and he's cleared back to being a normal dog. Cancer was grade 1, so he's good. He's fine. They don't think it's spread, and his next checkup's in 3 months, but we expect great things. All right, last question. Second to last question. We'll do 2 more. All right, this question comes from Brad. I'm one of those viewers that doesn't subscribe to anything, and I just check my favorite channels now and again. I had no idea the campaign was running, or I would have donated. In the future, I'd love to see a little clickable something in the bottom corner of your videos. Indicates you've got something going on that I need to check out. It should be on all videos you make until the campaign is over. Since I'm one of the 500,000 casual viewers based on the numbers you gave out today, I think there will be enough of us $20 to $50 types to make it happen next time. I'll be watching for another update. The show will happen. Brad, I do agree the show will happen. It's unfortunate. I made videos. I talked about it in every video I made. Had clickable cards. I had links in the description. YouTube wasn't recommending my videos for a couple months. You know, it just is what it is. But, you know, we won't be doing another IndieGogo campaign anytime soon, I don't think. But anyway, thanks for the suggestion, though. I appreciate it. And the last question, being a fighter pilot and alcohol. Hello, Mover. I'm on track to apply to the Air Force or Navy for a fighter pilot slot after graduation. Watching your videos and talking to current fighter pilots, I think I have every chance of a successful career. Awesome. However, I don't drink alcohol. I make no judgments of folks that do. I simply don't like it and have no interest. I'm told by current and as well as former fighter pilots that consumption of alcohol is a long-time unofficial military tradition and culture, especially within fighter squadrons and the fighter pilot community. So much so there's a considerable pressure and expectations to drink heavily during certain squadron activities. If you don't go along, you won't get along. You'll be shunned as a dude in a group who's unwilling to fit in. One former fighter pilot told me that while he enjoyed a couple beers with his coworkers, he did not enjoy the excessive consumption of hard liquor and was encouraged within the squadron. Cheers of whiskey and tequila were served. Sometimes he just wanted to go home to his wife and kids, but there was pressure to hang out with the boys, get drunk usually 2 or 3 times a week. Felt if he didn't partake, he'd be labeled as one of those guys. I know from your videos your constant advice is don't be a douche. True. I'm no douche. I don't like douchebags myself. I just don't consume alcohol. Can you comment on this? Is this the way it is? This reminds me of a scene in A Few Good Men when Jack Nicholson was discussing code reds and he said, on the record, I discourage such behavior. Off the record, I say if it goes on without my knowledge, so be it. Enjoy your videos. Thanks for your thoughts. Boy, Bill, you have asked the right question to the right person. So, fun fact, neither I nor Gonky drinks. We don't drink. I don't drink because well, a couple reasons. One, I grew up with an alcoholic and I had always tried to limit myself. I did drink in pilot training and at squadron functions and stuff like that, like you talked about. I realized that I have whatever predisposition to becoming an alcoholic, so I didn't drink a lot. And then when I was diagnosed with the kidney and liver disease, that was the end of it. I haven't had a drink since. Whether people shun me or not, I don't know. I don't think so. Gonky doesn't drink either. And I know a lot of fighter pilots that don't. There are Mormons that don't drink as well. I think the rule is you can do whatever you want. I mean, it'll be offered. And I think less so now than it used to be. I think it used to be a lot worse. But the rule is simply you don't have to partake, but you can still hang out. You can still be a bro. You can be the designated driver. I mean, you're probably in good position to do that because you're not drinking. So you get to watch out for them and make sure they're okay. And a lot of roll calls and stuff have transitioned to having both the alcoholic version, the Jeremiah weed, if you will, and the non-alcoholic version, which is usually like pickle juice and some other disgusting stuff mixed in with that, and you know, jalapeno juice and whatever, to make it just as unpleasant, but not the alcoholic effects. So I think a lot of squadrons in this newer day and age are allowing that. But throughout my career, though, I think the overarching theme, once you tell somebody you don't drink, is if you're a good dude, you know, i.e. you're not a douche, and you just hang out, you know. You don't have to be there every night. It's nice, you know, if you can, but, you know, people understand you got to go see your family. They don't expect you to be there, but just be there at the social functions. Be there at the roll calls. Be there at, you know, the night out with the bros. Be there so that they know you, they see your face and all that stuff, and you're hanging out. And, you know, yeah, they might ask a question or two, hey, why you're not drinking? But, hey, I just don't. Okay. I don't think that's a deal breaker, and I don't think you're going to get shunned for doing that. And I applaud you for, you know, sticking to your convictions, and, you know, if that's your thing, that's your thing. So, but yeah, there are a lot of fighter pilots that don't drink and do perfectly well. So just don't judge anybody and just be a good dude. Anyway, so that'll do it for today's Mover Mailbag. If you want to send me something, movermailbag@cwlemoyne.com, P.O. Box 8594, Mandeville, Louisiana 70470. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you next time.